Hello, I'm State Representative Kirk Pearson. Thank you for joining me for my legislative update. Today, as I speak to you from Olympia, there are only a handful of weeks left in the legislative session. I am very concerned that as the session nears an end, very little action has been made on the $8.5 billion plus budget deficit. In the House, the majority party has had time to pass bills that create a buffer zone around bicycles, allow felons to vote before they've paid their restitution to their victims, and held hearings on bills that could have a very negative impact on businesses and families. But there has not been any action on the budget which has a direct impact on all our lives. This is not responsible government. Most important, the public should have enough time to comment on the state budget proposal before it's voted on. One bill I'm really concerned about is Senate Bill 5288. This proposal would eliminate corrections supervision of all convicted misdemeanors and gross misdemeanors. Why it sounds harmless, the reality is that many of the misdemeanors the bill sponsors want left unsupervised have been assessed by law enforcement and corrections personnel as high-risk violent offenders. This would include domestic violence offenders who are more likely than not to reoffend. I'm particularly concerned that domestic abusers who would not be supervised under this bill will re-victimize their spouse, children, or other household members. Oftentimes, these criminals have keys to the homes of their victims or know how to gain access to them through friends or family, making them extremely dangerous. This side of the story is not being told by the supporters of this bill. Also, the bill leads families to believe that criminals are not a danger to the communities when they are a major concern for law enforcement. Currently, 2,500 misdemeanor offenders fall into the highest risk categories, and under this measure would be completely unsupervised. The argument is that by cutting about 300 community correction officers' positions and limiting offender supervisions, the state will save a little money. I cannot support bills that balance the budget on backs of victims and potential victims. I will work to make sure we put in place more protections and fund our public safety system in a way that puts families before felons. Another bill I'm working on that passed the House is House Bill 1300. The bill creates an Involuntary Treatment Act, allowing officials to hold someone showing extreme signs of mental illness that could pose a public danger for 72 hours. It also allows for information to be shared with law enforcement and corrections on mental health treatment history. It's not enough to take a mentally ill person off our street for treatment. We must know their history, what medications they may be on, and how to best help he or she manage their illness, particularly in a time of stress. Finding the balance between protecting a person's privacy and protecting the public was critical in this bill. I am hopeful that it will help law enforcement and medical personnel interact better to get a person into treatment before they harm innocent people. Thank you for your time today. It is an honor to serve as your local representative, and if I can be of service, please let me know. And I do appreciate your calls, letters, and emails, and like many times on my messages, if you plan on coming to Olympia, give my office a call so I can make arrangements to meet with you. I'm looking forward to telling you what I'm working on the next update. For now, thanks again for allowing me to serve you.